Let's be honest. Government contracts not really known for being easy to deal with.
No kidding.
It's like this maze of, rules and paperwork and deadlines, right?
Yeah,
Makes even the most, experienced business owner sweat a little.
definitely.
But what if you could use AI to like navigate that maze?
Okay.
That's what GovPro Systems is saying they're going to do.
Interesting.
And they're a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business.
Okay.
And we're going to dig into their Series A raise prospectus today.
Sounds good.
See if their claims actually, hold up.
Yeah, what's interesting here is that they're tapping into a real pain point.
Yeah.
This is a market worth over $500 billion a year just in the US.
Wow.
But navigating the whole government contracting thing, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Especially for small businesses.
Yeah, and they really laid that out there in their prospectus. They don't try to sugarcoat it or anything.
Right.
They talk about being up late, dealing with all the regulations and proposals that are super long. Yeah. All stuff that people who've done this are going to recognize.
For sure.
And, they highlight how hard it is to navigate all the regulations.
Right. Which is basically...
Yeah, just making sure you're following all the rules when you're applying for these contracts.
Exactly, yeah.
Dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and it takes forever.
And that's where their whole AI thing comes in, right?
Yeah.
They're not just putting a Band-Aid on it. They're like, let's redo this whole thing.
Yeah.
Using automation to make it simpler.
Okay, so how are they actually going to do that?
Yeah.
Well, they want to streamline it all, from finding opportunities to submitting these huge proposals.
Okay.
One of the things they talk about is standardized templates.
I see.
So instead of starting from scratch every time,
Right.
you have this pre-approved format and you just fill in the blanks.
That makes sense.
And it's not just about having the format, right?
Yeah.
They're saying their AI can actually fill in the templates for you.
Wow.
Using the relevant data and stuff.
So you don't have to do it manually.
Yeah, they're saying it could save hundreds of hours of work.
Hundreds. That's
If I'm right.
that's a lot of time.
That's a ton of time that you could spend actually, running your business.
Yeah, exactly. And that's got to be appealing to anybody.
Yeah.
Especially if you're dealing with multiple bids and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't stop there.
Oh.
They're also saying they'll have automatic compliance checks.
So you don't miss anything.
Right, so you don't miss a single thing. And you're following all the regulations perfectly.
It's like having somebody checking your work constantly,
Yeah.
making sure you don't make any mistakes.
Exactly. And on top of that, they're adding workflow management tools and real-time analytics.
So you can keep track of everything.
It's like a digital command center for all of this stuff.
That's a good way to put it.
If it works the way they say, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Especially for smaller businesses that don't have a ton of resources to handle all this.
Okay, so they're making some big promises, but can they deliver?
That's the million-dollar question. Yeah.
To figure that out, we need to look past the marketing and see what they're really proposing.
Yeah, we need to dig deeper and see if this is a real game changer.
Exactly. One of the things that jumped out at me in the prospectus was their emphasis on APIs.
Oh yeah, APIs are huge in this space.
Because a lot of times businesses are using all these different systems, right?
Exactly. You've got accounting software, project management tools, CRM. It's a lot.
And that's where the APIs are so important.
Right. Because they can connect everything together.
Yeah, so GovPro is saying they can integrate with all these different systems to streamline everything.
Which would be huge because then you're not stuck manually entering data all the time.
And they specifically mention integrating with sam.gov.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they're going right for the heart of it.
Which, for anyone who doesn't know, that's the main website for finding and applying for government contracts.
It's where everything happens.
Right. So if they can really pull off that integration...
It would be a game changer.
Yeah. No more data silos, less risk of making mistakes.
Which is so important with compliance.
Exactly. And speaking of compliance, they make a big deal about their automated compliance checks.
Yeah. But the question is, how good are those checks really?
Right. Are they really catching everything?
Because there's a lot to catch.
Exactly. So to get a better sense of that, I think we need to look at their traction section.
Yeah, let's see what they've actually accomplished so far.
Because that's where they talk about their achievements and stuff.
Right. Have they actually built something that works, or is it all still just talk?
Okay, so the first thing they highlight is partnerships with industry leaders.
Okay, partnerships are always good.
They say they're collaborating to enhance project planning and things like that.
But they don't really say who these partners are, do they?
No, it's kind of vague.
Yeah, are we talking about big companies in the industry? Or just smaller players?
That's what I was wondering too.
Without those details, it's hard to know how much weight to give it.
Fair enough. So moving on, they also talk about their proposal automation framework.
Okay, that's something that a lot of businesses could use.
Yeah, but they call it an initial framework.
So it's not like a finished product yet,
Right. It seems like it's still in development.
which makes sense. It's a complicated thing to build.
Yeah, automating those proposals, making sure everything's integrated.
And compliant, too. Don't forget about compliance.
Right. Because a framework is one thing, but a system that can actually handle real-world proposals,
And all the complexities that come with them,
that's a whole other challenge.
for sure. And it would be helpful to know more about how they're addressing those challenges.
Yeah, like how have they incorporated compliance into this framework? How user-friendly is it?
Those are all important questions.
Okay, and then the last thing they highlight in the traction section is the API stuff.
Right. They're really emphasizing their commitment to connecting with other systems,
Which we talked about. It's super important.
especially in this industry where there's so much data to keep track of.
But again, the details are pretty limited.
Yeah, like which APIs are they prioritizing? How well do these connections actually work?
Because it's one thing to say you can integrate with sam.gov.
Right. But doing it in a way that's actually useful for businesses.
That's the real test.
Exactly. So while their initial progress seems promising,
Yeah, they've definitely got some good ideas.
the lack of specifics in this section could be a concern for investors.
Definitely, because they haven't really connected the dots between their vision and what they've actually done so far.
And to figure out if they can bridge that gap, I think we need to look at the team.
Yeah, because even with the best technology, you need the right people to make it all work.
Exactly. So let's dive into the team section and see who's behind all of this.
Okay, so we're really digging into GovPro now.
Yeah, trying to see if they're the real deal.
Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to the team.
Especially with a startup. You can have the best idea in the world,
Right.
but if you don't have the right people to actually make it happen,
It's not going to go anywhere.
exactly. So let's see who they've got.
All right, so the CEO is Terry Williams,
Okay.
and he's got a PMP certification, which is Project Management Professional.
Okay. So he knows how to run projects.
Yeah, and his background is in Air Force cybersecurity,
Oh, interesting. So he's got that security angle covered.
which seems pretty important in this space, right?
Absolutely, especially with all the sensitive data involved in government contracts.
Yeah, you got to make sure that stuff's secure.
For sure. And the PMP certification means he's probably good at handling complex projects.
Which government contracts definitely are.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to manage a project in the military.
Right.
It's a different story in the startup world.
Yeah, it's a lot faster paced.
Exactly. You got to be able to adapt quickly.
Okay, so that's Terry Williams, the CEO.
Okay.
The CTO is Robert L. Barner II.
Okay. And what's his story?
He's got an MBA, and he's a CSM, which is Certified Scrum Master.
So he's got the business side covered too.
Yeah, and over 19 years of experience in IT.
Okay. So he's the tech guy,
Yeah, he seems like their tech visionary.
which is key for a company like this that's all about AI and automation.
Yeah, they need someone who really understands that stuff.
And the MBA suggests he knows how to apply it to real business problems.
So we've got cybersecurity expertise, project management skills, a tech leader.
Seems like a good mix so far.
But do they know enough about government contracting?
That's the big question.
Because it's not just about building a tech product
Right. It's a whole different world.
with its own rules and relationships.
Exactly. And can they convince those government agencies to actually use their system?
That's going to be a tough one.
For sure. So let's see what their financial projections look like.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's how they're going to measure success.
And it's what investors are going to be looking at.
Okay, so in their first year, they're projecting $1.2 million in revenue.
Okay.
Focus on small businesses.
Makes sense to start with a smaller market.
Yeah, and then in year 2, they're aiming for $3.5 million.
So they're planning to grow pretty quickly,
They want to start going after those enterprise clients.
which is a different ballgame altogether.
Right. Those guys have bigger budgets, but they also have more complex needs.
And longer sales cycles.
Exactly. And then in year 3, they're adding government clients to the mix.
Wow, they're not wasting any time.
Nope. They're projecting $7 million in revenue for that year.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get those government contracts.
Lots of red tape.
Tons. And then for year 4 and 5, they're projecting $15 million and $25 million.
Wow, those are some ambitious goals.
Yeah, they're aiming for the stars.
Which is great, but also risky.
For sure, especially given some of the challenges they mention in their prospectus.
Right, let's not forget about those.
Yeah, like getting people to actually use their system.
Market adoption is always a challenge with new technology.
Especially in a field like this that's been doing things the same way for so long.
People don't like change.
And then there's the whole issue of keeping up with government regulations.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Those things are constantly changing.
It's like trying to hit a moving target.
And then there's competition.
Right? Other companies are going to be trying to do the same thing.
So GovPro is going to have to stay ahead of the game.
Innovation is key.
Exactly. So they've got a lot of work to do.
They do, but they're tackling a big problem.
And if they can pull it off...
It could be huge.
So for anyone listening who's involved in government contracting,
Pay attention to this one.
this could be a game changer.
Or it could be a bust, but we'll have to wait and see.
That's the exciting part.
That's the fun of it all.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive into GovPro Systems.
It's been an interesting one.
It has. Thanks for breaking it all down with me.
Anytime until next time.
Keep asking those questions and keep diving deep.